Hello!
Ahoy!
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 18. Yeah?
It is 18.
18. Wow, we're nearly there.
I know.
We've nearly done 3 seasons of this garbage.
Another stream table will soon be complete.
Almost complete. How are you doing, Nick?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yes.
What's the news? Any gossip?
I've been on holiday this week. I've not been anywhere, but I've not been at work, so
That's
that has
like a
been
holiday.
positive.
That's good.
Yeah, so weather's been pretty good, so we've been having a good time.
Excellent. We actually clapped eyes on each other this week.
I know.
The first time second time since March, I think it was.
Yeah.
Mad. But it was nice to see you.
You came in, sat in my garden for a cup of coffee.
I did.
And,
saw the kids for the first time in ages and saw your missus. It was nice. It was pleasant. It was nice to see you. Things are slowly getting back to normal.
Ridiculously hyperactive.
As always. But yeah, they were. It's because they were excited to see their favourite uncle.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Exactly.
I was going to go straight into it then, but what are we doing?
I
was going to comment on. I had an update from something from last week, but we've not introduced the show.
We've not introduced the show. We've not done the socials. You're so keen to get started.
I know.
So this is Bottom of the Stream, where we take a film every week and we dissect it. It's always a film that's not very popular on Netflix, and we find out if it's a hidden gem or not. I think that's basically what we do, isn't it?
That is our premise, exactly.
Shall I run through the social medias?
Do it. Let people know where they can find us.
They can find us on Twitter at BOTS_podcast, or they can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/bottom of the stream. For some reason I missed out Instagram. You can find us on Instagram. That is also at BOTS_podcast. There's a website, www.bottomofthestream.com, where you can find every episode we've ever done and all 3 seasons stream tables as they currently stand. And you can also find us on Patreon. Patreon.com/bottomofthestream is where you'll find us. There's 3 different tiers that you can join at, and for that we'll give you some merch, some extra bonus episodes, early access to the episodes. You'll get a wild card if you come in at a certain level. There's a newsletter that goes out every month, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but all the good shit's on Patreon. So check us out over there, and we'll go from there.
Yep, if you can't do that, then please, if you've got a couple of minutes, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser or on any other app or method that you use to listen to your podcasts. Because if you leave us some reviews, it improves the algorithm and it puts us in more people's ear holes.
Yeah, definitely. You've just shout it out the window.
Yes.
You can't find anywhere to leave a review. Just open your window and shout it out.
Tell the world.
Tell your world. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbours. Tell your nan. Tell your enemies. Just let us know that we're here and that we want more people listening. Please. Please. Please listen. Oh dear, it's going to be one of them episodes.
Awesome.
We got any Netflix news?
No. So what I want to talk about first.
Okay. Go for it.
Is shopping trolleys again. So,
okay. Shopping trolley update.
So, yeah, shopping trolley news. So, we talked last week about shopping trolley theory, which basically says take your shopping trolley back to its little house in the supermarket because that makes you a good person. Because if you just leave it or abandon it in the car park, then you're an absolute animal and possibly a sociopath.
Yes.
Because there's no reason to do that.
Absolutely.
So, I pulled up to the supermarket a couple of nights ago.
Yeah.
And it was quite late, so it was like 8 o'clock or something like that. And there wasn't many people around. I saw a woman.
Yeah.
She just finished loading her bags into her boot.
Yep.
That's trunk.
Trunk.
For our American listeners. And she's got the trolley in her hands. She's parked in line with one of these shopping trolley hutches.
Yeah.
And she just lets her trolley go.
What?
Yeah, and it just rolls 4 or 5 car parking spaces and crashes into the side of the hutch.
What?
She definitely went home and killed her husband. That's all I'm saying.
She ain't got a husband. Wow. What is wrong with people?
This world. Unbelievable.
Put your trolley back in the hutch, people. It's not difficult.
There you go. I thought you'd like that.
computer's being weird. I don't know what it's doing. It keeps
What's
going
it doing?
blibbity-dung, blibbity-dung.
Oh, I can't hear it. It's fine.
Good, that's good, because if you can't hear it,
Just
it's not
carry on.
recording. I think it's because it's charging my phone up at the same time.
I also want to say a quick word about masks.
Okay,
Obviously, wear a mask.
wear a damn mask.
It's the least you can do. When you're wearing your mask, fucking pull it up over your nose.
Oh, that irritates me so much.
I've seen so many people, and I don't want to tar everyone with the same brush, but it's mostly people above a certain age
Yeah,
walking around with their nose completely uncovered.
yeah. If you're
Just
not, if you're gonna
fucking
uncover your
think
nose, you might
about
as well not bother wearing one.
Yeah.
Just wear it and wear it properly. Check out our
Unbelievable.
Instagram and our Twitter, because I put a picture of me wearing one on there the other day, and there's not many pictures of me on the internet, so I don't even know if have you even seen that yet?
Yes, I saw it earlier, just before we came on air.
So yeah, if you want to see what I look like wearing a very fetching bottom of the stream mask, go and check out the Instagram at BOTS_podcast. But yeah, it's not difficult. Put it over your mouth, put it over your nose. You can breathe just as well, so don't be a sap.
Yeah, just don't be a fucking plum.
Don't be a plum, wear a mask. That's the new slogan.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, that's fine. Have you got any Netflix news?
No, I wasn't
Oh.
lying earlier. I honestly haven't got any.
I've got a little bit. Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes,
We spoke about this briefly.
we
Have
did.
you heard that the show has forced the police to reopen one of the cases?
Oh, no. Which one?
You know the guy who went to the party and never came home, Alonzo Brooks?
Yes.
That case was reopened this week and his body was exhumed. So they're properly
Wow.
re-looking into it. And the FBI are even offering a $100,000 reward for tips leading to an arrest.
Wow. That's good.
That's
is
good.
impressive.
Like 16 years after the original case. So I thought that was worth mentioning. If you've not seen Unsolved Mysteries, it's really, really good, and you should probably check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it is good.
Some of them are better than others.
And the stories are fascinating. But I think we mentioned this before. Well, it's in the title. Don't get expecting closure.
No, there's no closure. That's why it's quite
It's-
exciting that something might happen with this one.
It's just a massive prick tease of a programme, isn't it?
You'll know all about being a massive prick tease.
Well, there you go. Not so much of the massive.
No comment. I've also got a little bit of news about 365 Days.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this film that's sent the world by storm.
Sure.
365 Days is currently the top-ranked movie on Netflix, released in the year 2020.
Okay.
It's also the most streamed movie on Netflix during the month of June.
Okay.
It is the third most streamed movie in the Netflix top 10 era. So since they've been doing top 10s, it's the third most streamed movie in that era. I think it's mostly this year. It's also very close to beating both of the two that are above it.
Ooh.
So it could become the most streamed movie since Netflix have been doing top 10s. It's spent total of 12 days in the number one position, which is the second most ever, behind Spencer Confidential, which has spent 18 days at the top, at number one.
Okay.
And it is the first film in Netflix history to be knocked off the number one spot and then go back.
Oh, everyone loves S. Trier.
It's actually done that twice.
How's this?
So, yeah, it's crazy how well it's doing.
Have you watched it?
No.
Me neither.
It does not appeal to me in the slightest, but it's doing really well on Netflix. It's a sexy film, I think, isn't it? A couple of the ladies at work have watched it. They weren't impressed.
It's also had, it's courted a bit of controversy for its sort of anti-feminist
Yeah, they
content.
got accused of being pro-rape as well, didn't it? And things like that. But
And I'm not... I think, just being in that sort of mainstream news article has probably helped it sort of go back to the top and, But, yeah it's not really for me.
no, it's not for me either. Talking of the Netflix top 10, do you want to quickly run through it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okie dokie, let me just load it up on my phone. So, currently in at number 10 is Body Fixers, which is a Channel 4 documentary. I think it was a spin-off to Tattoo Fixers, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It's people who have done horrendous things to their body and want it fixed.
I'm really surprised at that because, you can just, in the UK, sorry, you can just watch that anytime.
Watch it on all four. This is the UK top 10, by the way. So, yeah. Tattoo Fixers was in the top 10 for quite a while,
Okay.
but it isn't now.
It's a sort of like a 2-year-old TV program, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's only just hit
me.
Netflix. like recently. But yeah, it's bizarre to me as well, to be fair. Number 9 is a film called Fatal Affair. Ever heard of it?
No, it sounds very much like a Channel 5 late night TV movie sort of title.
It says, a lawyer is caught in a terrifying game of cat and mouse when a drink with an old friend escalates into an obsession that jeopardizes everyone she loves. It's got Omar Epps in it.
Right.
He was in something I watched recently. What was that?
I do not know. I presume this is a rhetorical question for me. You're asking yourself.
Oh, I mentioned him last week, didn't I? Because he was in Trick.
Oh, okay.
I knew I'd mentioned him recently. That confused me then. Number 8 is The Old Guard, another film. Have you seen this yet?
No, that's is that the Charlize Theron one?
Yeah.
And they're immortal superheroes.
That's the one.
Yeah. It's supposed to be pretty good.
It's supposed to be really good. I've added it onto my list. I just haven't got to it yet. 4 undying warriors who secretly protected humanity for centuries become targeted for their mysterious powers just as they discover a new immortal. Yeah, it's supposed to be good. I'll check that out.
Yeah, me too.
Number 7 is The Business of Drugs.
Okay.
Which is a limited series of documentaries, I think. To understand the origins and true impacts of the business of drugs, a former CIA analyst investigates the economics of 6 illicit substances. So each one's on a different drug. Each episode's a different drug.
Oh, okay.
So like cocaine, synthetics, heroin, meth, cannabis, and opioids.
I have not seen that on my timeline at all, I don't think.
No, not me. Maybe it's brand new. Who knows? Unsolved Mysteries is at number 6. We've mentioned that recently. Just about 5 minutes ago. Number 5 is a program called Indian Matchmaking.
Okay.
This caused some controversy this week because it's about arranged marriages in India. It's a documentary, and they're saying that it's outdated. It's an outdated process, and that this show is kind of glorifying it a little bit. So it's caused a little bit of controversy, which is probably why it's number 5.
Well, yeah, exactly. All press is good press and all that sort of thing.
Exactly. Number 4 is Jack Whitehall, I'm Only Joking, which is a stand-up set from Jack Whitehall.
I don't mind him on a panel show.
I don't know if I've ever seen a stand-up show from him.
I've seen a couple of his, what's the ones where he travels with my father. I've seen a couple of them. They were okay.
His dad's really funny, though.
Yeah, I don't see... Yeah, I'm not appealed by watching him talk for an hour, personally.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen this. I quite like him, like you say, and them sort of things, but I don't think I've ever seen his whole stand-up set. He's got a bit of a thing with Netflix. I don't know if he's got some sort of contract with them, but he's got a few stand-up sets on there now, and obviously Travels with My Father's a Netflix original series. So
sure.
Maybe he's a Netflix babe. Number 3 is Down to Earth with Zac Efron.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah? You've seen it all?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all of it. Over the last couple of weeks. I think I didn't mention it last week. I don't know why, but probably because we didn't go through the top 10. But yeah, I've watched it, and it's good. He is really likable.
Yeah, he's a really likable guy anyway.
And he does the sort of everyman thing really well. And he asks a lot of really good questions. So it's all about sustainable living, ecology, green energy, food. The guy who presents it with is like a nutritionalist. Oh, right. So it's about clean water, and they travel all over the world. That maybe makes it sound boring, but it's really entertaining.
I'll check it out. I did fancy it, so I will have a go and see what it looks like.
And he's a couple of times he's like, he doesn't sort of big time it at all. Right. A couple of things happen. He's like, well, you want me to do that? I'm no one. I'm not. What and the people say, no, you're here. You're bringing, attention to our plight, our cause. You're really helping us out, and it does comes across really well.
Cool.
And I could only imagine of having the dad bod that Zac Efron has.
Is it a dad bod? How old is he?
That's what he's been tagged as in the press. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He ain't that old.
I'm not sure. I
don't know how old he is, but it doesn't seem. I don't know. I think that bod might be a bit harsh on him.
Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Cool. I'll check it out. Number 2 at the minute on Netflix is Fear City: New York versus the Mafia. Which I think is also another document. There's a lot of documentaries in this top 10.
I
know. 5 mafia families ruled New York with a bloody fist in the 70s and 80s until a group of federal agents tried the unthinkable, taking them down. There's 3 episodes. Looks alright. if you like that sort of thing, I guess I might check it out.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that one either.
No, I hadn't heard of it, to be fair. I think a lot of this is really new stuff. And currently at number 1 on Netflix is Cursed,
All right, yeah.
which is, I want to say Catherine Langford, is that her name?
Yes, I think so. I
Her new show.
I have seen the trailer a lot because it seems to be everywhere, but I've not yet watched it.
I've seen the first 3 episodes.
What do you think?
I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I think it's all right. It's slow. There's no denying that it is pretty slow. It's Netflix again have tried to. They want a Game of Thrones, and they've wanted one for ages, and they keep making them. They made The Witcher. They've made other stuff, and now they've made this. And I think this is going to be as close as they can get to it.
Okay.
But it is quite slow. The first 3 episodes. It's set before the King. What's his name? Merlin and Arthur and all them. It's set before that.
Okay.
So she's got the sword, and she's the story is she's got to transport it to Merlin, but she can wield it.
I see.
Yeah, it's all right. It's quite good. I've quite enjoyed it. I'll stick with it. I think there's 10 in this series, so I'll keep.
I think it's interesting that this came out like a week after Warrior Nun because they
yeah
they sound a bit similar.
Warrior Nun is just a stupid name for a TV.
Yeah, and I think I'm probably leaning towards trying that one first. To be honest.
Well, you try that one. I'll try Kirst, and we'll compare notes.
Deal.
Cool. So yeah, there's your Netflix top 10.
Awesome.
Have you got anything else? Have you been watching anything else?
Yeah, I've watched a couple of things this week. So I've watched all of season 1 of Living with Yourself.
With Paul Rudd.
Yeah, which has been on the list for absolutely ages.
Yeah. I remember we talked about that when it first came out.
Yeah.
It was possibly like in the first season.
Quite possibly. It's been there for a long time. Finally got around to it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah?
It's not what I expected, but it's good. So I was expecting it to be quite a light-hearted multiplicity. I thought I was getting multiplicity. And I didn't. I got something that was actually quite deep.
Really?
Yeah, and thematically they go into some quite dark places.
Right.
Yeah, and it's quite intriguing. And I've no idea if it's coming back for a second series, but it definitely leaves on a bit of a cliffhanger. So.
Oh, right. I've not heard if it's coming back or not. I can't help you with that one.
No, me neither.
So it's not like a straight-up sitcom?
Oh, no. I
was fully expecting it to be a sitcom.
And I'm sure that's the impression I had from the trailer way back when. But no, it's definitely got big dramatic tones in it as well.
Oh, I might check it out then. Might check that out if that's the case.
And it's a short. I can't remember if it's 8 or 10 episodes, but they're only sort of 25 to 30 minutes, so
right,
won't take you any time.
Talking of short episodes,
yeah.
Where was I with Community last time we spoke?
Had
I just finished season 2?
Think so, yeah.
This time last week.
Yeah.
Shit. I'm halfway through season 5.
Okay. Wow.
Now,
that's good going.
In my defence, season 4 and season 5 are shorter seasons.
They are.
They're only 13 episodes. It's definitely peaked. It peaks at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
And it's on its downward slide. But it's still good. It's still really good. I watched an episode earlier tonight that was really, really funny. And I didn't know that Jonathan Banks was in it.
Oh, did you not?
I didn't know that he ever... Because he replaced Chevy Chase, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
When they killed off Chevy Chase's character. I do miss Troy.
Yeah, it was
There's
never
been
quite the same when Troy left.
It's been like 4 episodes now since he left, so I do miss him. It's not quite... Kind of killed Abed's character off a little bit as well.
Yeah. They just... They're one, aren't they?
So, yeah, they're like one person.
To not have the other one there, it definitely affected it. I mean, yeah, I think it was fine when Pierce left, Chevy Chase left, but Troy was the one that, really affected it.
Yeah, I do really miss it. So I think this time next week, and the next episode, I'll probably be finished it.
I'm sure you will, yeah. But no, those first 3 series are just
magnificent. They're
perfect.
Yeah,
awesome.
Pretty much almost perfect. Every one of the characters is really entertaining.
Oh yeah,
and that's all you can ask.
Fantastic.
All you can ask for in an ensemble sitcom.
Yeah.
I get fascinated by sitcoms because when you've got 6 or 7 characters, most sitcoms are based around 6 or 7 characters, like The Big Bang Theory was, Friends was, Cheers was, all that sort of thing. And I get really fascinated about how that relationship progresses, and then just always just disintegrates.
Yeah.
And they always just fall out with each other, and it's the death of many sitcoms.
I think it is a proper art form as well, because you've got, and it's no wonder, there's so few that seem to be classics, because you've got 20 minutes to fit 3 storylines in, because they usually pair off. That everyone knows the format, but to do that and then to have it all culminate is just and when Community gets it right, there are few better sitcoms that I've ever seen.
I agree.
And it just, some of the things it tries, we'll do an action movie in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll do a gangster movie. We'll do a war documentary. They're all in there.
Even to the point where we'll do an animated film. We'll do puppets for an episode. It's just mad. It's really mad that the bravery of the writing. Just like, right, fuck it, we're just going to animate this one. It's like, what? It just doesn't happen. It's really brave.
It is a real good breeding ground for some of the Russo brothers cut their teeth on Community.
Yeah.
And they're directed the biggest films in the history of the world. Obviously Dan Harmon gone on to Rick and Morty, and
which is a very this kind of sounds stupid, but Rick and Morty is very similar, because it doesn't take itself seriously at all, and it isn't afraid to break boundaries and just do stupid shit.
Yeah.
And how are you getting on with Rick and Morty, by the way? You started watching that?
I've watched another couple, so I think I've watched 4 now. Yeah, I'm getting more into it. I can.
Good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm starting to tune into the style and the humour. I think I'll really enjoy it.
Good. Yeah, I'm going to be disappointed when I finish Community, and I can't believe I've never watched it, but I am going to need recommendations on another one.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to let me know, the 20-minute sitcom.
You weren't supposed to do it so quickly, but
I know. I can't believe I have. It's because I've not got a life and I don't go out anymore. I could just sit and watch them all. The only other thing I've watched this week is Hereditary.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of good things about Hereditary. Like it's the scariest film ever made, and is like the rebirth of modern horror. And it's not. It's arty-farty garbage. I did not enjoy it at all.
Okay. I've not seen it, but I'll take your word for it.
It's just, I don't know. Everything about it says that I should enjoy it, but I didn't at all. I just couldn't get the ending is awful. I just don't, and it isn't scary. I might be desensitized to horror films because I've seen so many of them, but I know a scary film when I see one, or I'd like to think I do.
Yeah, and this is not it.
No.
Okay.
I didn't think so.
Fair
Anyway.
enough.
But the little girl gets her head chopped off. That was quite fun. But yeah, no, not for me. So yeah, don't check out Hereditary.
Okay, I won't.
Unless you like it, and then let me know why I should have liked it, and just talk to me about it. So
Yeah.
tell me why I'm wrong.
Send all your rage mail to Ad.
Yeah, send it my way.
I have one more thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's a program called Southern Survival Outdoor Gear Tested.
Right, that sounds like a YouTube channel.
And it may have started off like that. It is basically a load of rednecks testing camping and survival gear. They'll do it with like flamethrowers, and it's
sounds amazing.
Yeah, so they tested. So the first episode is about fire. So they're testing smoke masks, and they trap themselves in a burning building, and they were testing like collapsible ladders, matches that don't go out in water. What's the best suit to get burned alive in?
Okay.
So it was a very fun half an hour. So I'm going to watch the rest of them definitely.
I've never even heard of that.
No, I don't even know how it came up, but it was quite a laugh.
Okay, I'll look into that, and we'll go from there. You ready to talk about this week's film?
Yes.
We're quite a long way in now, and we've not even mentioned what it is yet.
Cool.
So this week we watched a film called Bon Cop, Bad Cop,
Oui.
which is from 2006. It is 15. Oh, it's not 15. It is A15. It's on for 1 hour and 56 minutes. It's currently rated at 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. It is both in French and in English, and obviously subtitled.
And also not.
Yeah. I don't know if you watch it in French. Do you think the French isn't subtitled and the English is?
I presume there would have to be a reverse version. Yeah.
So I was surprised they might as well just subtitle the whole thing and then they wouldn't need to. It stars a guy called Colm Fiore. I'm going with that. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, 100%.
He's got a really difficult name to pronounce, and he's the English guy, or the American, Canadian guy. He plays a character called Martin. He's probably most famous. He was in 24.
Yeah, I definitely recognise his face.
Plays a guy called Henry Taylor in 24. He was also in the Chicago film from early 2000s.
Yeah.
And he's in the Chronicles of Riddick.
I've seen all of those.
So that's probably why you recognise him. I recognise him straight away from 24, so he must have been quite a big character in that. Also stars Patrick Huard. This guy is French. He plays a character called David. Looking through his IMDb, he's been in a lot of stuff, but nothing I've heard of, so I imagine a lot of French-Canadian stuff. French stuff.
Can I just stop you for a sec? Have you called them Martin and David all the way through?
Yes.
Because I've gone surnames. So this might get confusing.
Oh, wow. Why have you got surnames?
Because that's what they called each other.
Oh, okay. This is going to get confusing.
Because they're like detectives, aren't they?
True.
That's fine.
Okay.
We'll work it out. It'll be fine.
Give me Martin's surname.
Ward.
Martin Ward and David
Bouchard.
I've got a bit of a fact about this film as well.
Sure.
In October 2006, when it was released, it ended... You know Porky's, the film?
I do, yeah.
That it ended its 24-year reign as the highest-grossing Canadian film in the Canadian box office.
Wow, I did not know Porky's was a Canadian film. There you go.
Porky's is a Canadian film, but for 24 years was the highest-grossing Canadian film in Canada.
That is a great fact.
Bond Cop, Bad Cop was later knocked off that perch by A Resident Evil Afterlife.
That is less cool, but...
But yeah, so at one point this was the highest-grossing Canadian film in Canada, in Canadian box office history.
Wow.
Crazy. Have we got a one-word review for it?
No, I hadn't thought of that. Bleached. They've bleached it, haven't they?
Yeah, massively.
So it's all done with the sort of green tinge.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Did you feel like you were watching an 80s cop show at some points?
A little bit. I presume some of that was by design. I've got a few comments on that. But yeah, it was going for a bit of a retro vibe, I think.
Yeah, it was. So where does this film start?
We have some sports chat on the radio. So there's a radio phone in, isn't there? And It's basically talking about a rumour that is going around that one of the Canadian ice hockey teams is going to move to America.
Yeah.
And one of the big cities in Canada, although we don't know which one yet, is going to lose their hockey team.
Yeah.
Whilst this is going on the radio, though, you've got a guy in a hockey mask. So so far, Jason Voorhees.
Yep.
And he is tattooing a man in a suit.
Yeah.
Who doesn't look like he wants to be there.
He was asleep to start with, wasn't he?
Yes, he was
unconscious to start
came
with.
round.
He came round, and the tattooist showed him his face, and he kind of recognised the man recognised him instantly.
Yeah.
But then he kind of just freaked out, and the tattoo was finished, and then he whacks him with a hockey stick.
He does, yeah.
Does he kill him? Yeah, he does kill him.
Obviously. Yeah, we only see one shot, but one shot to the head. But yeah, the guy's gone.
Yeah.
Talk about a slap shot.
There's going to be loads of hockey stuff in this, and isn't there? I have no idea about hockey. You mentioned straight away there that there's a phone in about hockey. I got nearly an hour into this film and I didn't even realise it was about hockey. It's very difficult. I hate it. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, that is a fair comment because it isn't outright, so the motive doesn't outright come out until about halfway through the film.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is just, you pick up, it's the background chat because it's on things like radios and TVs in the background. Yeah. And it's fair to say it was difficult to tune into this movie for the first 10 minutes because there's people talking in English, there's people talking in French, some people are subtitled, some people aren't subtitled, some people are talking in English and French, and I was absolutely fine with it, but it did take a few minutes just to tune into the pace of it because it's fast.
It is really fast.
The I hate this word, but the banter and sort of the back and forth is really quick.
There's a scene comes up quite early on with the medical examiner.
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea.
So when you're trying to make notes,
I can't even read that fast. Yeah. That was going to be my point.
It's tricky.
It's really tough when we do subtitled films. We've done a few now, but this is probably the one with the most dialogue.
Yeah.
Because we did Mirage. No, was Mirage dubbed?
Yeah, that was dubbed.
Mirage was dubbed. Revenger was subtitled, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was there another one I'm forgetting?
Possibly. I'm sure there will be.
Possibly, but this is definitely the one that's had the most dialogue to read and write at the same time.
The Rock, Paper, Scissors movie, that was subtitled.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, Animal World.
Yep.
Yep, you're right. But again, there wasn't a lot of dialogue in that, and you could kind of keep pace with it. This one was so fast. I was like, I had to make the choice of either watch the film, understand what the film's about, or make notes so we can talk about it. So I decided to make notes, and I guarantee I've missed great big chunks of the plot in this film. Guarantee it.
Okay.
So I'm going to struggle through it. If I miss anything, just pick me up and talk me through it. We cut from the title card to a man who's hiding in his suit. This is Martin, the
Ward.
Canadian Martin Ward, he speaks English, but he is Canadian. They live right on the border, don't they, of Canada and French Canada.
So Ward is a detective in the Ontario Police. So that is Toronto and surrounding area, and he is English as a first language.
Yeah.
And he's ironing his shirt, and he's got a kid. He's a teenager. Yeah,
15 years old. He's a 15-year-old DJ, his kid. So they talk about DJ sets and stuff. Did you recognise the kid?
No.
He is in Scream 4.
Okay, not seen it.
And he's in Saw 2.
I have seen that. He must have been young.
Yeah, well, he would have been. But he was... Saw 2's probably around this sort of time period, though.
Oh, of course, this is old, yeah.
Because this is old. This is like 14 years old.
I forgot how time works.
Do you remember Donnie Wahlberg? Is it Donnie Wahlberg in Saw 2?
It is, yeah.
His son got locked in a safe.
Yeah.
That's the lad. That's who it is. And you've not seen Scream 4?
No.
Well, he's the guy who does all the video vlogging in Scream 4.
Okay.
No spoilers for Scream 4. Should I spoil Scream 4? No, I'm not going to.
Okay, fine.
Cut from that family, because that's like an early morning interaction for that to introduce us to that family.
Yeah, they also have Auntie Iris.
Yes.
Who goes and babysits the kid.
Yeah, even though he's 15.
Yeah.
She's kind of like the cool auntie, though. She's Martin's sister.
Yeah.
Cut from that family to the French side of the film. There's a French side and an English side to this film. That's the only way you can describe it, isn't it? They're also having breakfast. They are a man who is David Bouchard. Bouchard? Cool. Yep. His ex-wife, who he still lives with, and his daughter.
Correct.
Obviously.
Can I just say...
I love it when we at the same time. It happens quite a lot.
Bouchard was making French toast for breakfast.
Yeah.
Is it not just toast?
Good point.
To him.
Good point.
Anyway, sorry.
So, do the French kiss? Or is that just kissing? Does anybody French kiss anymore? Who knows?
Well, you've not asked for a while.
I haven't seen you for a while. Bouchard's daughter... I will try and stick with surnames just to help you out. Bouchard's daughter decided that she wants her belly button pierced. So there's a bit of a... She's what? What would you say she is? 12?
I
would have said a bit younger.
Who knows?
I would have said a bit younger, 12, 13 maybe. So they have a bit of a family tiff about that. It's all in good taste, good nature though, isn't it? Nobody's that angry. Sure. She's definitely not going to be able to get it done, but she kind of knew that when she brought it up, I think. Suddenly though, he gets a phone call and he gets called into work even though it's his day off. And we get one of these... I've written 80s cop show driving montage.
Yeah.
Because it's like fast-paced driving, fast cuts. Like you can tell the camera's sped up. There's like plinky plonky music going on over the top of it. And he pulls up at his crime scene, or a crime scene.
So I'll just point out here, so Ward is like buttoned up, shirt, suit, tie. Yeah. And Bouchard is like rough, stubbly, leather jacket.
He's always got a fag on.
Yeah. So that's what we're dealing with here straight away.
Yeah, and then he gets to this crime scene and they meet for the first time because they are over the border sign, I guess. Or they're standing at the sign of the border between their two.
Yeah, so it's the border between Ontario and Quebec.
Yep, and there is a dead man draped over the top of the sign.
Yes.
They meet straight away and they instantly start arguing because they have to decide whose crime scene it is because obviously it's in both jurisdictions.
I thought this was really funny. So by this time I've tuned into it and they are whip cracking with each other straight away.
Yeah, they are.
And so one of them's like, well, it's our case because, if I can't remember what sport he gives as an example, if your foot crosses the line, in tennis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your foot crosses the line, then you're
Right.
in.
Yeah.
So that's our, and the other guy's like, no, if it's a running race, it's when you dip your head, so it's ours.
Yeah.
And they're both sort of saying who wants the case, aren't they?
Yeah.
To which point they climb either side of this border sign.
Yeah, they've got a ladder each, don't they?
And they end up hanging off this dead body.
Yeah, for some reason the ladders both fall at the same time.
Yeah.
And to steady themselves, they grab hold of their side of the body, and it splits in half.
It does. And they fall to the ground.
So they've got half a body each now, which makes their predicament much more difficult. Cut to the office, and both of their captains are there now.
Yeah.
So again, we've got a French captain and I keep going to say English, but it's not, is it? It's Canadian, but not French Canadian.
Yeah.
So they've got if we're saying Canadian, it means they're speaking English. So they've got a Canadian captain and a French captain, and obviously those two in the office. So it's chaos because everybody's trying to shout over each other.
Right. This was really funny as well. So just like this was almost like a skit. So you've got Bouchard, who can speak French and English.
Yeah.
Ward can speak English and French.
Yeah.
The French chief can speak French and a little bit of English, and then the Canadian chief can only speak English. And then there's about 5 minutes of all these. It's really, I can't make it sound funny in my description, but they're sort of back and forth about who's speaking which language.
Which language do they have to pick? Yeah.
And the French guy is. The French chief is like doesn't know that Ward can speak French, and there's all this back and forth. I just thought it was so well written.
It was really, that was one of the highlights of the film, that bit, and it's hectic because there's subtitles in bits of it and there's not subtitles in bits of it, and then there's people shouting in English, and then half a sentence will be in English and the other half will be in French.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But basically,
I think.
Go on.
I was just gonna say it's what I like about the show, because there is no way I would have gone anywhere near this.
No.
But I've watched this because of the show, and it was at points it was really funny. And I think, if you were a Canadian or a French Canadian, this must have been absolutely hilarious. I think language is fascinating anyway, and I thought it was a really good scene.
Agreed. Yeah, it was. It was probably one of the best scenes in it. At the end of all this arguing, it turns out that they've got to work together on the case. They've been partnered up, basically.
Sure.
And both their captains agree that that's the only way they can resolve it. So what we've got here is a reluctant buddy cop film.
Sure.
So they're being forced to work together by their unruly captains. Cut to a car park, and there's another man in a suit walking through the car park. He's on the phone, and a guy in a hockey mask comes up and kidnaps him.
He does.
We get that. It's a very brief scene, isn't it? It doesn't. It's not like to it. It's literally just that.
Yeah, he abducts the hell out of him.
Yeah. And then we cut to the scene I mentioned earlier with I guess he's a medical examiner.
He's
the guy doing the autopsy on the body. Now,
he's very early noughties.
Yeah.
He looks like he'd listen to nu metal.
Yeah, he really does. And he speaks faster than anybody I've ever met in my life. I texted you whilst I was watching this scene. I was like, who knew the French spoke so fast?
I cannot do this scene justice either. It was hilarious again. Because the medical examiner is talking so fast, and Ward's trying to keep up with it, and he just can't. He's like a bit of a fish out of water.
Yeah.
But basically he finds a tattoo, doesn't he, on the dead body?
Yeah.
So this is the guy, and who they found on top of the sign.
Yeah.
And the guy says, "Well, I must have fallen out of a helicopter to have this damage."
This was the scene where I didn't write anything during this scene because I was just reading the subtitles at such a pace, and then I thought I'll pause it at the end of the scene and I'll write some notes then, because it was really entertaining as well the way he was talking.
It was
like, he's fallen from a helicopter, and he just said that as if it was like common knowledge and it was obvious that he'd fallen from a helicopter. And Martin gives him a look as if to say, "Explain yourself. Why has he fallen from a helicopter?" And he goes through literally every other form of aviation and why it can't have been that.
It does, yeah.
It can't have fallen from a plane, it's too fast, or it's too high. It can't have fallen from a hot air balloon, he wouldn't have had the velocity. And it goes through 5 or 10 things in like 20 seconds. And it's like it was a really well written bit of script. I thought this film was really good early on.
And they find a tattoo on the guy's arm.
Yes.
And some of it is bleeding and some of it isn't.
Yeah.
So what the medical examiner has deduced is that part of this tattoo was done before death and part of it was done after.
Yes. What's the tattoo of?
It's of the fleur de lis.
Yes.
Which is the emblem of the ice hockey team in Montreal.
Yes.
And I believe this guy was the owner of that team.
Yeah.
Or an executive of.
Yeah, I think that's what they were telling us at that point. They decide now that they need to head to the airport because they need to find this helicopter.
Yeah.
So they do, and David drives like a crazy person. Martin nearly throws up. It's quite a funny little scene. And they decide, when they get there, they decide that they should have a rule that when they're in Quebec, they should speak in French, and when they're in Ontario, they should speak in English.
Yes.
So that's the rule that they've come to, which makes sense, I guess. They find out that there's a guy who took a helicopter out on the day. His name's Luc Terrien.
Yeah, and the woman who they're talking to, so the receptionist, she's got like a massive wide on for Bouchard.
She really has. Don't say massive wide on.
Why not?
Yeah, she has.
Am I wrong?
No, never.
And they sort of get what they need from her, and she says, "Oh, before you go, can I have your number? You know, just in case I remember anything else."
Yeah.
And he says, "Sure." And he goes, "This is my number. It's 9." She's like, "Yeah, 1, yeah, 1." And that really made me laugh as well.
So yeah, she gives them this name, and they head to like a bar, don't they, to try and find him?
Yeah, you know, the
I think he
helicopter pilot bar.
Yeah, I think he lives in a motel that's attached to the bar. I think that's how they worked it out. For some reason, Martin decides to go in alone and tells David to wait outside.
Yeah, because they're both still posturing, aren't they?
Yeah, trying to
on the bigger man. Yeah.
So he does. Martin goes in alone, and he doesn't really get anywhere. And there's a bit of a montage of David getting restless outside. So he eventually does walk in, and he's like unnoticed and just starts playing pool with some guys.
Yeah.
Does Martin meet the guy? Yeah, he does. He meets the guy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
Luc
sits next to him at the bar, doesn't he? Yeah. And he starts asking him some questions.
And he ends up in a fight.
Yeah.
They end up fighting each other. And it gets to the point where Martin's being beaten in this fight and he needs some help. So he's noticed now that Bouchard's in the bar with him. So he calls him for some help.
And he won't do it.
Yeah, so he's reluctant to start with.
They do this funny gag, don't they? So, like, Martin Ward's getting the absolute shit kicked out of him. And Bouchard's like, he doesn't need me yet.
Yeah.
He doesn't need me yet. And eventually steps in and helps him. And then they kind of reverse it, don't they?
So David's getting beaten, and Martin's trying to chat up the barmaid.
Yeah, exactly. So
and eventually he calls for help. And yeah, it was quite...
I think it was a lot of rewarding stuff. And this film was far funnier than I thought. I was not expecting it to be this funny.
Yeah.
I thought it really made me laugh out loud quite a few times.
I personally think it loses that a little bit as it goes on.
Well, we'll come on to that.
Yeah, of course,
but I thought there was good chemistry, certainly at this point.
The first hour is very funny. Eventually, they overpower this guy because this guy's quite a big guy.
Yeah.
And Martin gets a gun to his head, so he gives in. And they try and get him in the boot of his car, of David's car. But they can't get the lid shut because he's such a big guy and he's got his legs stuck out, and that's quite funny as well.
Yeah, there's a bit of a slapstick. Oh, I can't get him in the trunk. Yeah.
Whilst he's in the trunk, they go to David's daughter's ballet recital for some.
So all the time they're trying to put him in the trunk, there's now this comedy riff on like French language, and verbs and past participles and all this sort of thing. I'm like, I remember this from school. And Bouchard is basically explaining to Ward that they use the word fuck as an adjective, as a verb, as a name. You've got that famous sentence where it's like, the fucking fuckers fucking fucked.
Yeah.
So you've used it as all these terms, and he's basically telling him that, but in French.
And they head off to this ballet recital, don't they, for David's daughter. David's like a doting father. He was not going to miss this ballet recital, so they head there. And this guy's still in the boot of his car.
Yeah.
They leave him in the boot of the car whilst him and Martin go into this ballet recital together. And they meet David's ex-wife, who is Susie. She's already there.
And Ward starts like chatting her up immediately.
Yeah. After the recital, they kind of meet up, and it culminates in Martin being invited for dinner.
Yeah.
David Bouchard is not very doesn't really want him to come for dinner, so he tries to talk him out of it. And as they're walking out the concert hall, I guess, they notice his car's being towed away, which is not a good thing because it's got a body in the boot or a guy in the boot.
Yeah, because Bouchard had parked across like 3 disabled spaces because he's a maverick.
Yeah. So they chase this tow truck down, and they're screaming, "We're the police! Stop, police! It's all it," and all this. So the truck does stop. It pulls over, and then suddenly it explodes.
Yeah.
And the car goes up in flames with the guy.
Massively explodes.
Yeah. So they argue about, shit, what do we do now? We've maybe just killed this guy. It eventually becomes clear that David needs he asks him for 24 hours, doesn't he? He's like, give me 24 hours to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And then you can report it after that. So that's fair enough. So they go for dinner at David's house. This is where I've put, turns out they're exes who live together. David tells kind of a story of how his wife left him.
So that's Martin.
Oh, is it Martin? Sorry.
Yeah. So
right.
Ward's wife left him for a rich guy.
Yeah.
He says is basically a member of the royal family.
Yeah, he calls him a pseudo prince or something.
Yeah.
After the dinner, they invite Martin to stay over the night because they've got to be up early the next morning to keep going on the case. So Bouchard's like not impressed again, but he goes with it.
Yeah. So they decide they're going to go to Terry Ann's house.
Yes. You've even put in the perp's name in surname form. Yeah, they go to his house, but they don't have a warrant. So to start with, they're kind of waiting outside.
Yeah, because, we've seen this in a million cop films. So Ward is like, yeah, we've got to wait till the warrant's here.
Yeah.
And Bouchard's like,
nah.
I think there's someone in there in distress.
Yeah.
We're going in.
They breaks a window, opens the door, goes in. Instantly, there's lots of hockey masks on the wall. Lots of hockey paraphernalia on the wall.
Yeah.
There's a tattoo chair. And there's a tattoo gun. So they're in the right place. Or it would seem like
we're on the right track.
We're certainly on the right track, yeah. It turns out this guy, Luc Terrien, was a goalkeeper for Quebec.
Yeah.
Is that how I understood that?
I think so.
David goes downstairs, Bouchard goes downstairs and he finds a cannabis farm.
Yes.
Like lots of cannabis plants downstairs in the basement. Martin heads upstairs and he finds the guy that from earlier that was kidnapped. Yeah. He's tied to the bed. Was he dead?
He's dead.
He is dead.
Yeah, he was dead. Yeah.
Suddenly, Bouchard walks through a laser.
Yeah, he sets off a tripwire.
Sets off a laser tripwire, and the whole room explodes. The cannabis farm.
It's like Tau. The
yeah,
self-destructs.
There's a huge explosion. All the cannabis goes up in smoke. David finds a bathtub.
Yeah. I thought this was great as well. So he upturns this bath, and he's all this weed's burning around him, and he's using the plug hole as a windscreen, trying to find his way out of this burning basement.
Crawling around with it on his back like a
and he's bumping into tables and bits of wood, and it's quite almost slapstick.
Yeah, it was a little bit silly at that point, but it was quite funny. And he's got his gun, doesn't he? And when he gets to the door, he has to shoot the lock off.
Yeah,
so he fires his gun and nearly deafens himself with the reverb inside the bath.
I like that.
That was funny. And he misses it. He shoots like 6 or 7 times and misses it every single time. Then
he tries the door and it opens.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Martin unties the body and manages to carry it halfway down the stairs. But eventually they get out. They get outside together, but they've had to leave the body behind in this burning house because they couldn't get it out. So they've left that in the burning house.
Ward's managed to get a couple of photos, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Again, this guy's been tattooed.
Yeah, but that's now 2 bodies that have gone up in smoke in this film. Or 2 people that have gone up in smoke in this film. Talking of smoke, they're both now completely stoned out of their face. Because they've just been in this room full of burning cannabis. And they just get the giggles. They start giggling at each other for ages. They head back to the captain's office. The French captain's office.
And this is, again, it's something you've seen a million times. It is literally like, I can even picture Homer Simpson watching TV. And it's like, you tell that stupid chief... Because that's what's happening, and the chief's like chewing them out, and they've just got the giggles because they're high as a kite.
He's raging, this captain, isn't he? He's apoplectic, and that is really funny. There's a lot of this film that is really funny. at the beginning. But they can't stop giggling. They're laughing and laughing and laughing. It's really funny. And they figure case closed. They found the perp, who they believe now is the guy who did it, this Luke Darian. And they found the place where it was, and they found the guy who'd been kidnapped. That's the end of the case. So Martin decides he needs to go home.
Well, yeah, it's partly go home, partly sent home.
Yeah.
The chief, both the chiefs are like, well, that's it, partnership's over.
Yeah.
You're going back to Ontario.
So he does. He gets the taxi to the airport and heads back to Ontario. Now it cuts now, and I don't know if some time passes.
I didn't like this.
No, I didn't.
So
it was very...
it was really clumsily done.
It was like watching a TV show and then the next episode starts.
Yeah.
It was just...
Because so they've just split up.
Yeah.
Ward's gone back home, and then suddenly the screen fades back up, and Ward's at a new crime scene.
Yeah.
And Bouchard pulls onto the driveway.
Yeah, and you've no idea how long's passed.
No.
But it feels like it's been some time since they've met each other or seen each other.
Yeah.
And anyway, there's another scene. There's another crime scene. There's a dead lady now. It turns out she was an talent agent, hockey agent.
Yeah, she was the only female hockey agent, apparently.
And she also has a fresh tattoo, which I think is why he's got David involved, because he's obviously now this is part of the same case.
Yeah.
Do they say at this point that the tattoo is a clue to the next victim?
Yeah, because the second guy had Colorado tattooed on him.
Yeah.
And then this hockey agent had Philadelphia tattooed, except Philadelphia was missing an L and an A.
Right.
So that then makes them think that...
the next crime is going to be in LA.
Yeah, it was to do with the LA
hockey
owner.
team. Okay. This is where I picked up that something to do with hockey was going on here.
Yeah, because I think it's one of the sitters interested in buying one of these hockey teams,
Right,
I think.
Okay. Cut from there, they head to a TV studio. There's like one of these sports desk TV shows going on.
Yeah, so the guy who owns, again, another Canadian hockey team is due to come on this sports show to like do an interview.
But he hasn't showed up.
Yeah, correct.
So somehow, through comedy of errors, David and Martin end up on this show on live TV. It's like a phone-in show, isn't it? So
it is, yeah. It's one of these like ESPN. Yeah, you got a
big loud, brash TV
obnoxious
host.
Sports presenter.
Yeah,
with calling guests.
Okay, and the phone rings, and the guy who on the other end of the phone, the guy who's called up, turns out to be the guy they're after, the killer.
Yeah,
the tattoo killer, as he's been dubbed at this point.
Because he basically says to them, the reason the guy's not shown up is because he's in my chair.
Yeah, on live TV. So this doesn't go down very well because Martin wants the phone call ended because this isn't a good thing to be broadcast on live TV. David kind of goes with it to start with, but then he agrees and he's like, yeah, hang this phone up. And they end up fighting with the TV host.
They're verbally arguing with the killer on the phone, and then the TV host, they end up getting in a physical altercation
on live TV.
Yeah.
And it ends with David right up into the camera, and he gives out his personal mobile number. And he's like, stop calling me through TV shows, call me on my mobile. But then the killer does. He does,
yeah, straight away. As soon as they're off. They're out back in the corridor, yeah.
And he says, I've got the next victim. That's pretty much it. That's all. You don't really get anything else from that conversation, do you?
Yeah, he's like, he basically tells them that he's at whatever the arena is, doesn't he, as this team.
Yeah.
And that the guy is on ice or something like that.
This is the point. I'm losing this at this point because I'm like, there's too much going on now and I can't write. And so I've got big gaps missing here. I'm sure I have, but I'll do my best.
So they go from the TV studio to like the arena.
Yeah. The
ice hockey stadium.
Arena?
Place.
I think it's an arena. You don't have stadiums. They find a couple of guys in the boot of a car, don't they?
They do, yeah.
And a tattoo gun in the front of the car. And it turns out these guys are the Zamboni drivers.
Yes.
I love that word. I think Zamboni is a great word.
Was it invented by, like, John Zamboni?
I don't know.
No, me neither.
Maybe it was invented by Zamboni. Sam Boney.
Zamboni.
What happens then? They have a bit of a chase with a guy in a mask.
Yeah, so they... when the killer called, he said... this executive they're looking for, he says, oh yeah, I've got him on ice. Then they find the guys who are the Zamboni riders.
Yeah.
So they're now looking for the Zamboni.
Yeah.
And as they approach it, they see that the killer or someone in a mask is tying a body to the bottom of the Zamboni.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Bouchard chases the guy sort of through the halls of the arena.
Do they catch him?
And he ends up getting knocked out. He gets like clotheslined.
Yeah.
And the guy escapes.
I haven't written any of this down. That's really bad, isn't it? Yeah, he does. He escapes. He gets away. I'm just remembering the film now as we're talking, rather than reading notes.
So they go out to the dead body of the executive who's sort of tied to the Zamboni, and he's been tattooed on his, I think it's on his neck.
Yeah.
And his tattoo is a large apple.
So where does that mean?
Or a big apple, if you will.
Yeah, so they think it's heading to New York next, or the next victim's going to be in New York. From that point, that's where I wrote back down again. So from that point, Martin invites David over for dinner now. So we've got a bit of a mirror image of what went on earlier, I guess.
So I quite like the structure. So the second half of the film is the mirror of the first half.
Yeah. But
you're just flipping it. So this time you've got Bouchard is the visitor into Ward's life.
Yeah.
It's a bit gimmicky, but I thought it worked quite well.
Yeah, fair enough. So obviously he meets the son and the sister, Martin's sister.
Yeah.
He flirts massively with Martin's sister. I think mainly as a retaliation because Martin was flirting with his ex-wife a little bit.
Yes. Unfortunately for Martin, Iris, his sister, is more than accommodating to this flirt.
Very much so. They head to the bone zone.
They're basically just like eye fucking at the dinner table.
And then actual fucking in her bedroom later on.
Yeah.
While they are doing the naughty, a man in a mask breaks into the house.
Yes.
Martin interrupts him and starts fighting with him. All the while, this is cut with David boning Iris at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's that old sort of violence intercut with sex,
and he's completely missing all the action that's going on. Martin starts to get beaten down by this guy a little bit, doesn't he? And then his son kicks off and saves the day.
He manages to get the mask off him, and it's Terrier in the mask. So the helicopter pilot,
the guy who they thought was dead earlier.
Yeah, who they thought was in the boot of their car.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Ward's son. Sort of, does he crack him on the back of the
head? Yeah,
he
hits him on the back of the head with something and saves the day, basically, saves his dad. So they run upstairs. It's not upstairs, it's like a separate...
I don't think they were anywhere near the same place. So
really?
I think Bouchard had gone back to Iris's apartment.
Oh, I thought they were in the same sort of...
I could be wrong.
I thought it was like a granny annex, but I might be wrong. Anyway, both Martin and his son go there and they get David. They tell him that basically Terrian's alive and he wasn't in the car. And... so David rings the medical examiner. We meet him again.
Yeah. It's very convenient because he's like, I've just finished putting the body back together.
Yeah,
he's like, basically, I've done a human jigsaw.
Yeah. And it turns out that the body in David's car was a lady.
Yes.
Who turned out to be the barmaid.
Correct.
From the bar that they were in earlier. At this point now they realise that they're being targeted as well as whatever's going on. So David calls his ex, Sadie.
I'm not sure. I don't think I got her name.
I think it was something like that. He goes, can you just... it's like the middle of the night as well, isn't it? It's not...
It is, yeah.
So he says, I need to speak to Gabrielle, his daughter. And she's like, she'll be asleep, but you can't speak to her. And he tells her to wake her up, but she isn't there. She has vanished. She was there when she went to bed. She is not there now. The killer rings David's mobile again. The tattoo killer rings David's mobile again. And says, I've got her. I've got your daughter.
Yeah.
And he says, stay out of my way, let me do my grand finale, and she will be fine. That's what he actually says to him. So they need to head back to Quebec, because they're in Ontario, and his family have been kidnapped in Quebec. So they get a helicopter, and they helicopter themselves back over. We go to David's house. Susie, her name is. I've written it down here. What did I say a minute ago? Sadie, I said, didn't I? Susie. Yeah. She's losing it completely. Her daughter's gone missing. She's not happy. David's crying as well. They're kind of arguing and also sympathizing with each other at the same time. So as you do, I guess, if your kids go missing. Why do they head to a press conference now?
Yeah, so it's a press conference to announce
where this team's going.
Well, I don't think it is that. I think it does say in the background because it's on the poster. I don't know if it's like the cup draw or something like that, but it's because I thought that at first. Oh, they're announcing the sale, but it hadn't got that far. So the they were again back at an arena and offices where the executive was. Yeah, he was going to do the sale, but that's not what the press conference was for.
No, because
specifically
he delayed the press conference because he was taking a call from a Texan.
Yeah,
on a video call, and with like this stereotypical cowboy Texan.
That's right. So the team executive, I think it's of Montreal, is he's not going to sell to New York. He now looks like he's going to sell to Texas.
The Go on. I was just going to give his name.
I think we're going to say the same thing. Yeah.
His name is Mr. Buttman.
Buttman.
David and Martin kidnap him. He's a little guy,
Yeah.
isn't he? I don't know the politically correct way of saying it, but he's a little guy. And they kidnap him, and because I guess they're trying to protect him because they know someone's coming after him.
He's the next target.
So they bundle him into the boot of their car. It ends up with Martin going on the mic at this press conference to say that this isn't going to happen. Mr. Buttman has gone missing. He isn't coming to this conference. And Martin walks off the stage, and the mascot for the team, which is a beaver.
I mean, it sure is.
It's not a zombie beaver, but it is a beaver.
This did make me chuckle in myself because, like, I'm now finding this film unintentionally funny because
it's got a beaver in it.
It's basically there's a guy who is not only fist deep in beaver, he has completely climbed inside one.
Yeah. The team mascot is a beaver in a beaver costume. David notices that this beaver is following Martin as he leaves. So, and this bit is quite funny because Martin heads down the stairs, but because the beaver's got these massive oversized beaver shoes on, he can't follow him. He can't get down the stairs. So there's a montage of him trying to get down the stairs and sitting down and can't do it. So he has to get in the lift. Obviously, David sees him get in the lift, and when the lift opens up at the other floor, they're both waiting for him and they punch it in the face.
Who is in the mascot suit? It is Terrien.
Yes, it's Luc Terrien again. If you punch somebody while they're wearing a mascot suit, would it knock them out?
That beaver had a pretty big nose.
It did.
And I think that may have absorbed most of the impact.
I think you're right. A bit of creative license was used there a little bit, I believe.
But again, you know, we have that old cut, don't we, where you cut to like beaver viewpoint and they both punch him at the same time in the face.
David gets another phone call from the tattoo killer. David tells him that he has now got Mr. Buttman and that he's willing to trade him for his daughter.
Yeah, give me Buttman, you can have your daughter back.
Yeah.
I'm saying it wrong. It's Buttman. Not Buttman.
It's like, in the Goldbergs when the granddad says Spider-Man instead of Spider-Man. It always makes me laugh when he talks about Spider-Man.
I think that was a Friends joke originally.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Chandler says to Phoebe, it's like Spider-Man. Spider-Man, not... His name's not Dave Spider-Man.
It just makes me laugh. I like it, like Superman.
Yeah, exactly. So the tattoo killer says, right, we're going to meet at... Well, it's like a pier, isn't it?
He tells him to meet him at the tower.
Shipping yard.
Yeah. He tells him to meet him at the tower, but it's a boatyard.
Some nice shots of Toronto in this movie, isn't there?
Yeah. I've been to Toronto. It's nice.
Yeah,
so they meet at this boatyard and the killer rings them and says, come onto this boat, meet me on this boat. So they do. And David tries to do an exchange with Leo instead, Terrien.
Yeah.
He's like, here, I have this guy back and I need my daughter. So the tattoo killer's like, nah, I don't want this guy. I'm not interested. And he shoots him.
Yeah. And I think this is where he says, Terrien used to be he was a youth hockey player, but his career was cut short by injury. So now he's just doing my dirty work, basically. And he just shoots him dead.
Shoots him, kills him, not interested. He pulls out Gabrielle at this point and kind of hides behind her so that David can't shoot him. And he makes David drop his gun and says, look, give me Mr. Buttman. Bring out Buttman.
And this guy is just like a proper schleb, isn't he? He's like some, I don't know, mid-early 20s bespectacled sports nerd.
Is that all he was? I feel like I've missed something. Who is this guy? Is he just a fan of the team that was angry?
Basically, he's in his view, he's a patriotic Canadian, isn't he? He's like, we shouldn't be selling one of our teams to the United States. Ice hockey's our sport. We invented, all this sort of thing.
I thought that's what it was, but I didn't know if I'd missed who he was.
Which, I think it sounds crazy, but I can think of a few like football fans I've met in my time who would subscribe to this sort of view.
Yeah, agreed. I think you're right. David shouts for Martin to bring out Buttman, and he does. But as he does, the killer, do we ever get? I don't think we ever get his name. I think he's just known as the tattoo killer. He
Yeah.
starts a timer on Gabrielle on a bomb.
He does.
She's strapped to a bomb, and it's got 4 minutes on it or something like that. So this changes the game, and they hand over Butman. They tell him to walk over towards him, but it all kicks off a little bit, doesn't it? It ends up with Martin getting shot.
Yeah, Ward gets shot. Yeah.
The killer gets away with Mr. Butman, and as he leaves, David's obviously trying to figure out how to defuse this bomb to get it off his daughter because it's counting down quite quickly. But Martin gets up because Martin remembered to wear a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, because there was like a
Yeah,
throwaway
there
scene
was.
just before they went in, and like Ward slides a bulletproof vest over the top of the car to Bouchard, but because Bouchard's a maverick, he's like,
He just
I don't
chucked
want
it
that.
back in the car,
Whereas, Ward puts it on.
which was lucky.
So yeah. So he kind of puts his hand on Bouchard's shoulder, and I didn't like this either. I just thought it was really convenient.
Yeah, agreed.
Because Ward just goes, oh, by the way, before I was a detective, I was in the bomb squad.
Yeah, I know how to
And he
defuse
just goes-
bombs. He's like
Yeah, it took all the
peril out of it.
tension out of it because he just went, oh, this is a really simple
Yeah,
device. You just need to pull out these
Pull
wires.
those 2 wires out, and
And that was it. It's done.
David did, and the bomb stopped. And it was really anticlimactic. David runs out after the guy. He jumps out of a window, doesn't he, and lands on his car roof as he's going past.
Yeah.
So this guy's trying to escape in a car. David jumps out the window, lands on the roof, which
This movie owes them, just before you go on, it clearly owes a massive debt to like Lethal Weapon. Like,
hugely.
I know there's a lot of buddy cop films, but parts of this was so just
it's not even hiding it at
Lethal
this
Weapon.
point. It's all Lethal Weapon. David lands on the roof of the car whilst the guy's driving it, which puts him off. So he ends up flipping the car.
Yeah.
David manages to get off in time, and the car ends up on its roof. The tattoo killer crawls out of the wreck, and they have a bit of a fight. They're David and the killer. They're kind of sparring with each other, fighting with each other. Martin turns up to help. He then ends up having a fight with the killer. David's in quite a bad way, isn't he? The killer managed to beat the crap out of him. Martin helps. Whilst Martin is fighting him, he slips something into his pocket,
he does.
into the killer's pocket, which kind of ends the fight. And the guy manages to run away.
He kind of he's limping, running away.
He's
isn't
limping and running away. And David goes to go after him, and Martin just says, "No, don't worry."
he? Yeah,
It's
Butman's
fine.
still in the trunk.
Yeah, Butman's still in the trunk of the car, which is upside down. But then Martin's like, "No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll leave him. He'll be fine." And David realizes what he's done and that he's put the bomb in his pocket. So it's a very small bomb.
Yeah.
And he blows up. End of the tattoo killer.
Yeah.
Because as he's running, you hear this beeping, and he stops. He realizes what's happened, and then he just explodes.
He does.
And that's pretty much the end of the film. Mr. Butman goes to a press conference, and he says no team from Canada will ever move to America.
Yeah.
That's his new rule that he's made. And your film ends.
Yeah. So the tattoo killer got what he wanted in the end. It's just he's not around to see it.
It's not around to see it, exactly. Go on, what are your thoughts?
I really liked it. I was, like I said earlier, I was not prepared or expecting this to be this funny.
Yeah.
And I was really, I don't know if it's like my unconscious bias or whatever. When we looked at this and it came out, I was like, and you said it was 6.8. I was like, that's really high. This is going to have to be, probably me more than you, because it's probably not as much your thing. But I've seen a lot of like cop films, buddy comedies. Particularly my wife really likes that sort of thing. We watched this together and we laughed most of the way through it.
Did she enjoy it?
Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. It's one of the most enjoyable things we've watched this season for me.
Wow. You're a lot higher on it than I am. Which is always going to happen because it's probably the anti-film for me. I don't watch cop dramas. I don't even watch cop TV shows anymore. I'm not big into buddy cop films. I'm not into comedy films, but I did enjoy this. There is parts of it that are really good. I thought the story was really weak.
It wasn't so
I'm
much
honest.
the story. It was. I thought the chemistry between the two leads was awesome.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
This is absolutely, the dialogue is just whip crack. It is so fast.
It's really well written.
It reminded me a lot of I don't know if you've ever watched it, but it reminds me a lot of Psych. and
I
like
haven't ever watched Sight.
the two lead characters in that, and it's really snappy, and funny. Which like I say, I wasn't expecting that. I had a fun time watching this.
I agree. I had a fun time watching it. It isn't something I would normally watch, but I'm glad I've seen it. And I think I'm a little bit down on it because it was so difficult to write notes and read it at the same time. If it had been fully in English, I'd have probably been a lot more on board with it. Or if I wasn't making notes on it, I probably would have been. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh on it for that reason.
I think that's a fair comment because it was really tough to and I hope we've not missed anything major, but it was tough to write and follow along, especially like I say after the first 10 minutes or so I tuned in a bit more, but it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't. I think from this point on we just ban subtitled films. It's too hard.
No, we're not doing that. This is a bit unique because the gimmick is because of the whole language gimmick.
Yeah.
And even some of the subtitles are a joke, and the fact that are the jokes, and the fact that they flip between languages, and then when you've got some characters who are mid-sentence changing, and you've got a subtitle where you didn't have one before, it is tricky.
It is tricky.
But
it's a tricky watch.
If you sit, I found it really rewarding.
Really rewarding.
Yeah.
It's not an original concept. I've seen a TV show called The Tunnel.
Okay.
Which is about a body that's found in the Channel Tunnel halfway between France and England. And there's also a Norwegian TV show called The Bridge, which is set on a halfway. So it's not an original concept.
But they're not funny, are they?
No, they're not. No, that's pure proper drama. I think its story lets it down. The whole thing about the killer just being a crazy fan of a hockey team. I didn't like the hockey references.
Don't get me wrong. This is very Canadian.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone in Canada loves ice hockey, but it's ticking a lot of those boxes, isn't it? It's clearly not aimed at a British sensibility, but I still think there's a lot you can get out of it.
What was the? Are we supposed to think that it's a coincidence that the body was dropped on that sign?
Yeah, so I don't know if I missed that. Oh yeah, did Terrien ditch the body and
intentionally over the?
No, I think it just happened to fall on the sign. I think that's the ridiculous concept.
Yeah. So I hope so, because it seems a bit. I don't understand why you would do it otherwise.
No.
So the whole thing's built on a really weird coincidence that it just happened to fall on this sign.
Yeah, and it's not all good. The reveal of the villain falls flat.
Completely.
Like I say, when they suddenly flip between jurisdictions, that falls flat.
The finale did a little bit as well.
Maybe that's poor editing, but yeah. And then, like you said, quite rightfully, there's no tension in the whole bomb thing.
No.
And it doesn't come across as a joke either.
No, it doesn't.
It's not like played for laughs when Ward just turns up and goes, "Oh yeah, just pull that while it's fun."
Yeah.
You could have maybe done that funnily, and I don't think that didn't come across to me. So
they didn't even do the whole tense thing where the timer was like on the last second.
No,
they didn't even do that. So it's like there's parts of it. It's funny, but parts of it really let it down for me. But I can understand it is an entertaining film. Do you want to do the trivia questions?
I do want to point out first there is a sequel.
There is a sequel. I was going to mention that at the end.
Oh, okay. So, which is also on Netflix.
Yeah, we're thinking about doing a full-length episode just for the Patreons for it, weren't we?
Maybe we'll see.
What I was going to say. What are your thoughts on that now?
I'd be up for it. I'm quite interested to see what happens to these characters next.
Yeah, I'm up for it. I don't know if we'll go in as deep as we normally do in an episode. I'm up for doing it. So if you want to check that out, if we do it, we'll let you know, obviously. But you'd only be able to find it if you're on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/bottomofthestream. I was going to mention that at the end, but why not? Let's do it now. Trivia. Have you got a trivia question?
Yeah, I've only got one.
Going back to the sequel thing, this is the first film we've ever done that's had a sequel.
Oh, there you go.
The Babysitter is getting one, but there's no other. I checked. There's no other film that we've done that's had a sequel.
Good. Trivia.
Actually, I might be wrong. What about Cube?
Oh yeah, that did have
Cube's got a couple, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from Cube, it's the only film we've done that's got a sequel. I checked that as well, and then it just when I said that,
popped
it just occurred to me. Yeah, it did. It just popped into my head. Cool. Who wants to go first? I've got two questions. Have you got? How are you doing?
I've only got one, so I'll go first.
You go first then.
Just what's the score reminder?
8-6 to you.
Okay, cool.
I hate this bit. I get really scared at this point.
I think I've got a feeling you might get it.
Okay.
So when Ward disarms the bomb, how long is left on the timer?
I do know this because it's one of my questions. It's 33 seconds.
Correct.
Yes, that's lucky. Now I don't know about my question because my other question's about the bomb as well.
Oh no.
So it's 8-7.
I did have one. I did have one from earlier. I can't remember what it was, but you did mention the answer.
Oh, sorry.
At some point. No, it's fine. I'm not sure what it was.
I didn't have a question, and then right at the very end, I was like, shit, I haven't got a question. And then I noticed straight away, I got 2 questions about the bomb.
Right.
So one of them was how long is left on the timer, and it was 33. So it wasn't even like peril of how long was left. They'd still got a bit of time left. Yeah. My question to you then is, what colours were the wires that he had to pull?
Green.
He was told to pull 2 wires at exactly the same time to disarm the bomb.
Green.
Right.
And... I'm stuck between 2. I don't know if either of them are right. Green and yellow.
One of them is right.
Damn it.
Green is not.
No, sure. I thought that was definitely.
They were yellow and orange.
I wouldn't have got that. Brown was the one in my head for some reason.
Excellent. 8-7. I'm catching you up, man.
Yeah.
I'm really catching you up. Cool. Right. Stream table.
Yeah.
I think we might differ on this. Where are we looking?
Oh, it's top half, easy.
Easy?
Yeah.
Wow.
No question.
Top half. So if I read from 8 upwards.
Yeah.
8 is Take Me. 7 is Mute. 6 is Peelers. 5 is First Match. 4 is Bad Day for the Cut. 3 is Fast Colour. 2 is The Bad Batch. And 1 is Super Dark Times from last week. Where are you putting that then?
I think I'm putting it 4th.
Really?
Yeah.
Above Bad Day for the Cut?
Pardon?
Above Bad Day for the Cut?
Yes.
Wow.
I nearly went higher.
Wow. I'm going to be honest, I've mellowed on this quite a bit since I watched it yesterday. As soon as it finished, I thought about it and I had it in 14th.
Oh, wow.
Now, I have mellowed on it a little bit and I do now think it's a lot higher than that, but I don't think I'd have it that high. You think it's better than Bad Day for the Cut? That was at number 1.
Yeah.
So are you saying this film came out earlier in the season, it would have got to number 1?
Yeah, I nearly had it higher than that, to be honest. I thought it was really fun.
I'm going to have to give up a lot on this.
Why? Where are you placing it?
At the minute, I am somewhere around Peelers. So maybe just below Peelers. First Match is a weird one. I don't know if that should be as high up as it is. I don't remember that with as much affection as I do remember the rest of this top half. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could see it's weird because I don't think it's a better film than Peelers, but I do think it's a better film than First Match.
I thought this is the funniest thing we've seen this year.
Funniest, yeah.
Yeah,
we haven't done many. We haven't done many funny things this year.
I just thought it was really entertaining.
Would you concede at 5th?
Sorry, what's that just below?
So that'd be below Bad Day for the Cut and above First Match. The top 4, all of the top 4 have been at number 1.
Yeah.
First Match hasn't. I don't think at any point it's good enough to be at the number 1. Does that make sense? So
it does make sense, but I feel I'm not going as high as I could go by putting it in 4th.
Okay.
What was 3rd?
Fast Colour.
Yeah, I think there's an argument for it being better than that.
Oh, I don't. I really don't. I'm happy with it in 5th. I don't know if I'm happy with it going above Bad Day for the Cut.
Don't you owe me one?
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, I do owe you one, yeah. Are you putting in 4th?
Look, if you didn't like it that much, I can't put it there. But I would. That is where I would put it. I thought it was really entertaining, but so was Bad Day for the Cut. Yeah, okay. Top 5's a good score.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah. Well, not really, but
when this stream table is all said and done, there's going to be some weird things in it in weird places, and I think we might have a good fun episode of just going through it and seeing what we've done wrong, because there's a lot of weird things in here in the middle of stuff that shouldn't be there.
I don't know. It has been a bit of a strange.
It's been a strange season. It really has. Okay, so we go with 5th.
Yeah,
you happy with that?
I think it's good. I
That's
was
a lot
actually
higher than I was expecting it to get last night when I finished.
That's interesting because I kind of checked it a bit because it might have squeezed into my top 3 to be honest.
Wowzers!
But there we go.
Wowzers! This is the me and you difference film, though, isn't it? You would get something out of this, and oh shit! I've hit my mic. I don't. I was talking with my hands, and there's no need to because there's nobody here to watch me. I don't watch cop films. I don't watch comedy films, and this is a cop comedy film. And you watch a lot of cop comedy films.
That's really funny.
It is funny. I will concede.
Proper tickle my funny bone. Some of these
it is
exchanges.
The funniest. I will agree with you. It is the funniest thing we've seen this season. We just haven't seen many comedies this season. If you look at Time Out, Take Me, they're probably the only 2 that we've done. So it is the funniest thing we've seen. So it's number 1 in the comedy charts. If you take that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Bad Day for the Cut wasn't a comedy, but it was punctuated by some good humour. But this is this is snappy. This is it's definitely Canada's Lethal Weapon. That's what they were going for.
There are people out there who'll enjoy it a lot more than I did. I would give you that.
It's a hearty recommendation from me.
Cool.
Stick with the first few minutes, and I think there's a lot to reward you in this.
Yeah, and you've got to be able to concentrate on all the reading that you've got to do. Pacey reading as well. It's not even like slow dialogue. It's fast subtitles. Should we pick next week's film?
Yeah, let's do it.
What are you looking to get out of next week? What do you want?
Do you know what? I don't think we've ever watched something on this show that's made me cry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want a bit of a weep, do you?
I'm quite an easy crier in films. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my challenge for the randomizer.
Shall I press my randomizing button?
Yes, please.
I've picked a film called Advantageous.
Okay.
What's advantageous about, Nick?
Something to do with tennis? It's a sports film?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Right, let me find it on IMDb. Advantageous is from 2015. It says, in a near future city where soaring opulence overshadows economic hardship, Gwen and her daughter Jules do all they can to hold on to their joy together, despite the instability surfacing in their world.
That's a lot of words that don't tell me much.
Who's in it? Oh, here's one for you. It's got Ken Jeong in it.
Oh, no way.
But it isn't a comedy. It's classed on here as a drama family sci-fi film. I don't know if I've ever seen him do non-comedy.
I'm just trying to think. No, I don't think so.
Interesting. So yeah, go out and check out Advantageous, and we'll come back next week to talk about it.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye.